Hello, hello, my beautiful sacred masculines and anybody else who finds their way to this channel. Welcome and thank you so much for your presence and for being here. This channel is dedicated to exploring a sacred sexuality and how we can come into more union, harmony, and balance within ourselves so that we can connect more fully from a place of love and wholeness with the other. And that other might be with the divine, it might be with a partner, another human being person, it might be within ourselves and just that beautiful union within, which is really where it needs to start, right? If we don't have that harmony, wholeness, and balance within ourselves, we sure as heck aren't going to be bringing that out to our connections and our relationships, which is part of why so many of us are struggling in relationships. You know, we don't have that harmony and wholeness and fulfillment within, and we're looking to the other to bring that to us, and it really isn't their responsibility. So this is why we're here in this channel. We are here to do that work, to find that harmony and that balance, to cultivate it, to do what we need to do to recognize where we're out of balance with our own sacred feminine and sacred masculine, and then do what we need to do to come into balance. And then we can share that with the world in whatever way suits us most and that we deem desirable. It looks very different for everybody. Sexuality is very different for everybody. We've kind of been told what it's supposed to be, or given these different models of what sexuality or healthy sexuality is supposed to look like, but it's really a very personal experience, and it's a personal journey. This journey of sacred sexuality is very, very personal. So we are here to explore all about that, and we are right now diving into the different elements that our reality is made out of. One of the core teachings of Kashmir Shaivism, which is an authentic tantric non-dualistic tradition, non-duality, is the Tattva teaching, which the Tattvas are elements. They are the 36 different elements that our reality is made out of and how we experience our reality. Different aspects of it. Starting at the top, because it's Kashmir Shaivism, with Shiva. Shiva is the one that splits into the two, which is Shiva and Shakti. It's there's two different Shivas, and now shoot, I'm not remembering the exact names. It's like yeah, I'm not gonna go there. Like Maha Shiva, and then the Shiva and Shakti splits into the Maha Shiva. Shiva splits into Shiva, the masculine principle, and Shakti, the feminine principle, to experience itself, really. And then from there it cascades into many different elements and qualities and aspects of our reality and how we experience this reality, ending in earth, air, fire, water, or earth is at the very bottom, the grossest, densest form. And I say gross meaning dense, tangible, not gross as in like, ooh, yucky. But, and so that, the earth, air, fire, water is really how we tend to experience a lot of our 3D world. So after earth, air, fire, water, the next are the senses, you know, sight, sound, smelling, taste. That's another way that we experience our reality, right? And there's many different aspects. Passion being one of them. Power, time is another experience of our reality. So that's another tattva. So it's a really beautiful teaching and a beautiful way to understand our reality, and really helps us to connect more fully with our own experience. This experience here in this 3D world, here on earth, in these physical bodies, and then to also understand at the more subtle level, at the more spiritual level, at a more cosmic level. It's a cascade, it's a flow, ongoing. There's no like better or worse. There's no hierarchy. It's just all happening at the same time. We're experiencing it all at the same time. It's just, again, it's different ways to understand and relate to our experience. So that's very important to understand that there's not an up and a down, a hierarchy in that. We kind of talk about it that way, as a cascading up and down, but it's not like up is better than down. It's all on a continuum. It's all one experience. And we have this experience to experience. It's not degraded. A lot of the religious traditions that we've had in Western society have really been about degrading the body and shunning and shaming the body. And actually, it's not just Western society; it's others as well. Like the body is, and this experience is Maya, illusion, something to transcend. That we want to get back out here. That brings a lot of pain and suffering and a disconnect from our experience here. We incarnated into these bodies to experience this beautiful world. They call it the mansion of fun. One of the tantras. Tantras are texts. They're a bunch of texts. So one of these, the tantras, the mansion of fun. And if we relate to it as such, it really can be. There's so much going on here. There's so much creativity. There's so many different types of experiences we can have. It's just teeming with life. It is crazy nuts here, like, wow, it's alive. And that is Source. That is Shiva. That is Shakti. It's just all of it here, So, wow, we can have a blast when we start like really appreciating our bodies, appreciating this world, and have fun in it. We're here to have fun and experience. We're not here to transcend it. Why would we come here just to try to get out of here? We're here. Let's have fun. Let's enjoy these bodies. Hence, sacred sexuality. And we're here to enjoy the pleasure of these bodies, the pleasure of connection, the pleasure of being in union, the pleasure of longing and desire to come into union. That's that Shiva and Shakti. The one splits into two and then enjoys that coming back together and that desire for union and that oneness. But without the splitting, there can be no desire, no fun, no longing, no experience of reuniting that oneness. That's the beauty of remembering too, remembering the truth of who we are. This is a grand adventure. We can have a lot of fun here. We can be in a lot of suffering. It's really up to us, and some people might not agree with that. But once you start getting conscious of it and aware that you get to decide how you want to relate to this experience, it can be very different. So back to the tattvas. There's 36 different tattvas, and we are focusing on earth, air, fire, water. The last video I did, I invite you to check that out. We talked about earth as it relates to sacred sexuality, which is about the body. For me, again, this is all in the context of sacred sexuality. So I'm relating it to, just like when I do tarot readings under this umbrella of sacred sexuality, the earth element, I relate to the body more. So, in a different context, that earth element would be more, it could be a different thing. It could be more about resources. It could be about, let's just say that, resources, our material experience, under the umbrella of sacred sexuality. That's how we're relating to it. So this is, but I invite you to check that out, because we covered a lot of different practices to come into our body more, to expand our awareness of our body, and nurturing and caring for our body, and being more in pleasure, opening that up so that we can connect from a body that's alive and connected and appreciating, cherished. So this video, we are talking about the air element. So how do we relate to air element in the context of sacred sexuality? And for me, what is coming through when I contemplated this really, and how I've been relating to it, is air, for one, is our breath. We can utilize our breath to really open up our experience of sacred sexuality, to open up the experience of our own energy, and then to connect with another, breathing with another person, and harmonizing the breath, synchronizing the breath really is such a powerful practice, and synchronizing the energy with a partner really opens things up. So that's one way that the air element shows up. Communication is really huge. Communication, how we speak, that's the air element, right? And the air element is also the mind. So how do we utilize all of these things in sacred sexuality? How do we utilize our mind? How do we utilize communication? How do we utilize breath? There are a number of ways where so this is going to fall on a spectrum as well. And again, no judgment, no good or bad. It's just different experiences. Okay. Everything I say is always about that. There's never a judgment, because that is what causes us suffering when we determine that this is good and this is bad. That creates that duality, and we're trying to come into more oneness within ourselves, and more wholeness, and more just experiencing everything. Everything is here for us to experience. But again, when we decide that it's good or bad, that's when we cause the suffering for ourselves. So just really being open to all the experiences. It doesn't mean that we love everything and we want to have all those experiences, but we don't have to judge them or shun or shame them. There's certain experiences I don't want to have, and that I don't desire, and I don't gravitate towards, but I don't have to poo-poo them and put others down for them. I just know where I gravitate towards, and what works for me, and what I'm interested in experiencing. So I do that, but I don't have to judge and shun and shame, because there's that self-righteousness. This is the ego. This is the enforcing that sense of separation, which we are trying to come back into oneness, or feel, appreciate everything as one, one, all different aspects of the whole. There's all these different experiences. We're not trying to negate and just have this one monotone thing, but we appreciate that everything arises. Everything here is part of this grand oneness. All of the experiences, all of the flavors, all of the tastes, all the sights, all the sounds are different aspects of the one totality of of our reality, of our experience, of source, of the divine, of Shiva or Shakti. So we don't need to judge. We just appreciate that that's part of our experience, part of our reality, and then we just move towards what really works for us, right? And leave others to do their thing, or leave other experiences to be that. We don't need to engage with it. So that has caused so much suffering on our planet. People deciding what's right and what's wrong, what others should or shouldn't be doing. Just stay in your own lane and worry about yourself. And I'm saying this to me too. Stay in my own lane, worry about myself. That's it. So that was a little tangent. Where was I going? I know we were talking about the air element, and there was a good judgment. I hate it when I lose my train of thought. Let's come back. Anyway, I don't know where I was going, but coming back to I wish I had a pause button right now so I could collect myself, but I don't on this. So that's okay. So coming back to air element, we're talking about the communication, the mind, and breathing. I know I was onto something good there. That drives me nuts, but that's okay. So how do we connect with all of these different elements of aspects of the air element to bring that into our sacred sexuality? One of the key elements there is the mind, okay, that's what I was saying. Oh my gosh, I knew it would come back. different ends of the spectrum. All of these things that we're discussing right now as it relates to air element are on different ends of a spectrum. Again, no judgment there. Okay, and I was going into breathing. So breath, in regards to our sacred sexuality and how we connect in sexual experiences and union. And these are sexual experiences we can be having with ourselves, with our own sexual energy. Again, sexual energy, sexuality isn't just about the act of fornication with another or even self-pleasuring. It's our sexual energy. The energy, our life force energy, our vitality that flows through, that again has been really tamped and distorted, shunned, shamed, and really perverted. But it is our life force energy. We all come from the act of sexuality. That's how we come into this world. That's freaking huge. I mean, right? And then to demonize it, vilify it, shun and shame it, and make it out to be something that is bad, is evil, is sinful. That's a real issue. It's no wonder we're a little fucked up around it, right? You know, like that's confusing. That's really confusing, and it goes back to a very core shunning and shaming of the body. I know I got into that in the last earth element there, the last video, so you can check that out more. But yeah, our sexuality is something to be celebrated and cherished and honored, and like that's how we came into the world. And it really says a lot about our spirituality too. I mean, if we're shunning our origin, our creation, you know, it's no wonder we're so kind of laden with guilt and shame and confusion, and we don't belong here, and we're destroying the planet, and you know, where's our home, and I can't wait to get out of this body, and you know. So okay, so coming back to the breathing as it relates to sexuality and that sexual energy, we've got two ends of the spectrum. One over here is like holding the breath. We do that, right? In sexual experiences, we'll catch ourselves like holding our breath a lot. And then on the other end of the spectrum, full breathing throughout our experience and really breathing through that energy and circulating the energy, utilizing the breath to move the energy versus that restricted experience over here of just holding the breath, creating more tension in our experience, body, mind, and spirit, you know, because that's what that does when we're holding our breath. Nothing's allowed to flow through, right? And this is really saying a lot about our entire lived experience. And it says a lot about, this is what energy healing is. This is energy and sound healing that I'm so passionate about. Please check out my website for the energy and sound healing sessions that I offer, and the upcoming 12-week program where we'll be doing these energy sessions each week. And let me explain that a little bit more right now. That tension, that holding of the breath, is very indicating of our entire lived experience. Our energy body is made up of different channels. They're called nadis. If you've had acupuncture before, that's what they're working with the needles. They're putting a needle into a specific place to try to help open up the channel to help the energy flow more. That's how our energy body works. It's a huge network of channels and energy centers. Like each of our chakras is an energy channel or an energy center. And then all these different channels of energy flowing throughout, connecting all of our centers and creating our experience. And that's the energetic form. That's frequency, sound, vibration. That manifests in our gross physical form, our physical body. So if our energy body, our energy channels are clogged up, stuck and stagnant, in a lot of tension, there's that breath, tension, that's going to manifest in our physical body as disease, dysfunction, inflammation. You know, things aren't allowed to move through. The energy isn't moving through, and it's causing issues in the body. It can cause, I just flashed into headaches, you know, it's all stuck in there. It can cause, there's a lot of tension that can cause issues in our bones, issues in our skin, issues in our organs. You know, like a lot of tension and stress in the organs is what leads to organ disease, cancer. You know, it's the energy is just stuck, inflaming. It's not allowed to move through. So if you find yourself doing that a lot when you're in, when you're self-pleasuring or when you're with a partner, and you're just holding your breath and you just got so much tension, like, you know, that really says a lot about your experience and how that is likely showing up in many other areas of your life. You know, a holding, a tension, a resistance, you know. We need to open that up. We need to allow that energy to flow through. Can't you just feel the ease and relaxation there? And the expansion versus it's just so many of us go through our lives in that state, you know, really. And that state, while you might not be walking around holding your breath all the time, although pay attention, because you likely are breathing very shallowly, holding your breath often. Notice yourself. Notice that. Pay attention to that. Now that you've had this teaching, this experience, notice your breath throughout the day and where you're holding it. This is our lived experience. There's so much more for us here. There's so much more to our sexual experiences, and yet we're just very restricted. We're holding ourselves in. We're holding our bodies in. That's again where all that tension and disease and disorder and dysfunction in the body comes from. So much tension, so much stress, so much holding. We're holding so much. Breathe, 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 breathe. Breath work practices, you know, breathing. This is a big part of what we're going to be doing in India. We're going to be doing breath work together every day, and we're going to be doing some very powerful breathing practices, holotropic breathing. We're going to be really moving some energy and really clearing that out. So, and what we do in the 12-week program, we'll be doing breathing as well. So, very important piece to really open up your sexual energy. Really open that up, breathing, 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 and a really powerful way to connect with your own experience, your own body, and then with another person when you breathe together and really start opening that energy to flow. And when you're opening the energy, you have a very different experience of your body, your mind, your spirit. It opens up a deeper connection to the spiritual connection that's innate in sexual energy. It is, again, our life force energy. It's a very spiritual energy when we allow it to be, when we connect with it as such. So there's that, the air element, breath work, breathing, opening, expanding. And then we move into communication, which, in regards to sacred sexuality, oftentimes the communication will be, we're afraid to tell our partner what we want. We don't even know what we want. We haven't explored it ourselves enough to be able to share that. We're shy, we're scared, we feel awkward, we feel weird. We would rather just be quiet. We hope that they figure it out. We think if we just kind of move our body in a certain way or maybe guide somebody's head somewhere or their hand somewhere. Don't fucking do that, okay? Please don't do that. Nobody wants that. You know, you can ask for something or say, like, I really like it when I would really like to have this feeling. I would really enjoy, you know, would you mind doing? Or a lot of different ways that we can approach that. Don't guide somebody's head somewhere or take their hand and move it. Like, that is just, that's really it's kind of disrespectful, and it's not giving the other person, it's not healthy communication, so ask for what you want, ask for what might feel good, ask if your partner wants to experience that with you, and don't just assume, and don't just it's kind of aggressive, really. It needs to be a communication and a two-way street. And an agreement, like, yes, I would like to do that. Yes, I would love to share that experience with you. Yes, I would love to touch you in that way. But don't assume, and don't force and guide. That's a real shortcut to healthy communication, So learn how to, first and foremost, learn what it is you like by exploring your own experience, your own body, your own desires, and longings. And then ideally connect with somebody who's also open to healthy communication. And maybe you're in a partnership already that, the precedent has been to not communicate and not talk about these things. So it's time for you, if you want to support a healthier connection in that union, to start taking some risks and to start opening that conversation up. And that's just really important. This is a huge piece of our sacred sexuality. Without that conversation, people aren't on the same page, and I know that's really vulnerable and can be scary, and especially when that communication hasn't been there, and we're really putting ourselves out there in an experience that has not been supported and cherished and celebrated. So we are pioneers here, and kind of try to maybe embrace it in that way, and just try to have fun with it, and know that what is on the other side could be really beautiful and really supportive and really loving and nourishing. It's not going to happen if we don't start the conversation. So learning how to communicate, and there's other courses and classes. I've taken some different teachings on communication in the bedroom, or let's say bedroom, sexual energy and connection can happen anywhere, but how to share what you want and how to start those conversations. So that's something that's not necessarily my specialty, but you can definitely look that up. And I feel like I have a book on my website listed that's all about that, actually, communication regarding sexual connection and exchange, and sharing what you like and getting more clear. So that's another piece. Like, if you're not clear on what you like, it's going to be hard to communicate that to another. So that's part of the exploration around the sexuality as well. So that's bringing the air element in, getting clear with communication, and trying to open that up with your partner. Or again, if you're not in partnership and you desire to be, start that from the very beginning. Start having those conversations and open that up from the beginning, so you don't set the stage for disconnection and a lack of fulfillment and nourishment as you go along. You need to start that from the beginning and get clear on what it is you're looking for in a partner and in union. And if you value a healthy sexuality and want to do this in a different way, and that what's happened before has not worked out for you, you need to get clear on that and make sure that is a priority going into your connection, because our sexuality is freaking huge, and we can't just expect it to organize itself and figure itself out. I think we have proven that does not work. People just get married and assume it's all going to work out beautifully somehow, despite not putting any effort into it. And we see what happens and where that goes. Within a year or so, people aren't having sex anymore, and then they're frustrated and irritated and resentful and confused and feeling unloved, and like, what's happened, and I don't know how to fix this now, and I don't know how to have these conversations. So start right away if you're new, or if you're getting into a new partnership or looking to connect. Get clear on this within yourself. Again, do this self-exploration. We have not been supported in society to do this, so it's on you to, and that's why you're here. I know that. But it is on us to break the norm, break through these unhealthy old ways of being, and find a new way. And there are so many supports. I mean, we're here having this discussion, right? So you're in the right place. We're doing this. We're changing it, and that's beautiful. We're doing the work. So communication. Then the other one is the mind. Air element is, especially like in the tarot, it is the mind. So how do we utilize the mind in sacred sexuality? And again, we've got the two sides of the spectrum here, right? One is maybe completely lost in fantasy and just spinning in our mind, whether that be in our own self-pleasuring, or when we're connecting with another, or when we're watching pornographic material or such on the screen, fully lost in fantasy, disconnected from our own true sexual energy. We're dependent on some fantasy thing to connect to our energy, or to get it moving. And it's really not the healthiest way. I'm just gonna say it's a way, let's say, but it's not what we're doing here, and it's not really opening to the truth of your sexuality. It's a very distorted experience, and it's not about connection and union with another, which is what we're doing here, which is what sacred sexuality is about. And that's connection and union within ourselves, the sacred feminine, sacred masculine energies within yourself, that harmony, union, and balance with the divine, and then with another, if you choose to explore that. But pornography or fantasy isn't really about that healthy union and that nourishing, fulfilling union. It's not real, in a sense. What this is always like kind of a slippery slope, because I know we utilize our mind, we utilize fantasy it can be fun, right? It's totally fun. But when we're super dependent on that, and we're disconnected to the point where we're disconnected from our body, we're in tension, that is where it's not supporting of the sacred sexuality, the expansive sexuality that we're talking about here on this channel. So that is not the experience that I'm supporting, because I don't, I'll just leave it like that. Again, no judgment, no shunning, no shaming, but here we are looking to expand our energy and connect more fully from, in a deeper way, so that's one way to utilize the mind in sacred sexuality. The other, we can be spinning out. What's my partner thinking? What's happening? Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Should I do this? I don't know how to do that. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know how to say what I want. What's going on? That kind of, which kind of comes back to the communication as well. We can really, and I've done this where I'm just like laying there, like really wanting to say something, but like really too concerned about hurting the other person or interrupting the moment or blah blah blah. So I've sat there and just like endured something that wasn't really pleasurable, wasn't painful necessarily, but it was like it could have been better to do it a little differently, something else would have been more pleasurable, but I was afraid to say something, so I didn't, and we've all had that experience until I started learning to say, like, actually, would you mind doing this? Actually, this would feel so much better. Or actually, I would really love it if you did this. Or actually, I don't want to do that at all. How about we jump to this over here, And usually it's met with like, yeah, let's do that. Or yes, awesome, great. And sometimes, there's some insecurities and sensitivities, but, we are on a journey and we'll get through it together. And it's better, again, to have these conversations and to try to align with what truly fulfills and nourishes us than to endure something we're not really enjoying. And that it's being dishonest with ourselves, with our partner. It's not creating and cultivating that true loving connection and fulfillment that we truly desire, and that our partner desires as well, you know. So so there's, and I know that the book, I really hope it's on my website. I'm pretty sure, but that really helped me a lot with just like having the courage and confidence to say, actually, could you do this a little bit? And the results were amazing and totally changed everything. I was just like, awesome. Yes, that works. Beautiful. Beautiful. Because for the most part, we want to pleasure our partner, right? We want them to be feeling good. We don't want to be doing something they're not enjoying, right? So take a chance. Try the communication. So, okay, back to the mind. On the other side, utilizing our mind, we can utilize it to be really present. Oh, that's the other one. Disconnected, just off doing something else. Fantasy can be like doing the shopping list, or out working on the car, or what do I need to do later? You know, something that's keeping us out of the moment. And so on the other side of that is presence, utilizing our mind to really bring our awareness. Our awareness to our partner, our awareness into our body, our awareness to our breath, to that deeper connection. That's how we can utilize the mind. We can utilize the mind for creativity, you know, to open up different possibilities and experiences for ourselves and for our partner. But really that presence and awareness, bringing the mind into it. And bringing the mind into communication, you know, utilizing communication to share with our partner what feels amazing, what we're really enjoying about the moment, what is really speaking to us and turning us on. You know, maybe that's a fun thing that your partner might like to hear, and maybe you want to hear that as well. So these are different ways that we can utilize the air element to connect with our sacred sexuality, again, on different ends of the spectrum. So if you're falling on one end and you would prefer to be on the other end, you know, there's different ways that we start to work with that, and cultivating presence, cultivating our breath work and our breathing, practicing, opening to different styles of communication, practicing that again in the mind. Also clarity. What do you want to experience? We utilize our mind to gain that clarity of what we want and what the type of person we want to connect with, the type of experiences we want to have. We have to get very clear with ourselves. And sometimes we're in an experimentation mode where we're like, I don't know if that really speaks to me, but I'm sure I'm curious. Like, let's try that. Sometimes there's been things where I'm just like, well, I didn't want to shut it down, but it wasn't like, yeah, that's yay, yeah. So, but I'm like, well, let's see. Maybe I would enjoy that, because sometimes we'll just say no to something because we're scared of it, because it's new to us. So I don't ever want to be in that state. But then after we have some experimentation, we kind of learn to like, you know what? I know that's absolutely not going to work for me, so thanks for asking, but no, I'm not interested. But there's these other things I would love to try out, you know? So we get to know ourselves, and I know, yeah, there's some things that just, I don't need to test them out to know that they're not my thing, you know? Sometimes we can push ourselves to try some new things that could really bring a lot of spice to us, you know? So we do have a tendency to say no to something that's unfamiliar to us. So know when you're doing that, when you're saying no from a place of fear versus no from a place of confidence and like, no, that's just not my thing, you know? So that's part of the communication, utilizing our mind as well. So these are many ways. I was really trying to keep this teaching down to closer to the 30-minute mark. I can really get talking. I get so passionate about this stuff. So breathwork practices, I have a blog post that really goes into some of these breathing practices. I'm going to start offering those as well, creating more videos, so check those out or look for those. If I remember, I'll try to post below. I'm in the description. I think we really covered a good way, a good understanding of air element in our sacred sexuality. So thank you so much for being here. And again, when you're ready to really dive into this and explore and really, shift the energy in your energy body, I offer a number of one-on-one sessions. I have sound healing and energy healing, sacred sexuality ritual, so beautiful, and just companionship, union, right? And the 12-week program, the next cohort, as I'm creating this, is in June of 2024. That's a 12-week intensive empowering sacred masculine. It's really going to deep dive into all of this and really open up that energy for you again, the energy healing, sound healing every week, and teachings and guidance, and really getting into all of this, really getting into clearing away that which is not serving. So check out my website for so much more information, very detailed itinerary on that. And then in November of 2024, we're going on our Sacred Sexuality Authentic Tantra pilgrimage to India, really deep diving into the sacred masculine, sacred feminine energies, the god and goddess energies within and without, and really opening that up. We're going to be doing so many beautiful practices and ritual and sacred sexuality ritual, and just really getting into there and exploring, clearing, opening, expanding, and connecting on a really deep and powerful level. So again, complete details and itinerary on my website. Check that out when you're ready to take this so much further. And thank you so much for connecting and for diving into the elements a bit here with me. And stay tuned for the next Earth, Air, Fire. Fire will be our next element, and that's a powerful one. Passion. Beautiful. So thank you for your presence, and I'm so grateful to be exploring this journey, this path with you of sacred sexuality, and coming into a healthier harmony, balance, and union within and without, and having those beautiful, inspiring, connected, creative, passionate, fulfilling, nourishing relationships that we all long for with ourselves, with each other, with the divine. Thank you, everybody. Bye. Where's the cursor? There it is. Bye.